Hello and welcome to Teacher Needs a Drink podcast. I am Elvis, your host, and I'm here to let you know that this is a not safe for work podcast. We are teachers at the end of the week and really the end of our ropes, and we'd like to be able to talk honestly and openly about teaching without having to worry about losing our jobs. So we'll be using pseudonyms throughout the podcast, hence the Elvis. Right now, I'd like to give a big shout out to all of our Patreon patrons out there. That's right, we have a Patreon! And this Friday, for all of our patrons on September 30th, we're going to do a movie watch party of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, where you can chat with the host, hear interesting facts, and drink while watching the great movie. Now, a big thank you to all the patrons, because for as little as $5, $10 a month, you get access to things like our watch party, our Facebook group, and over 97 different pieces of audio content that is exclusive to the patron listeners. You should go join and be just like these cool people. And by these cool people, I mean Justin M., Tracy B., Miss Wonderstats, Quentin P., Ekabex, Mistress Mischief, Natasha S., Miss Anthropy, Princess Buttercup, Dragon Lady, Kelsey, Nicole B., Shannon E., Helena C., Aaron B., Stephanie S., Maggie M., Texas Teacher Kristen, Miss Sunshine, Hattie F., James Nally J., Jody D., Samantha D., Lisa C., Rachel, Jen Genie, Exhausted Band Director, Kimberly K., Jessica A., Swiffle Ev Owners, Amanda F., Ariana L., Physics Runner, Steph, Science Teach 17, Michael M., William P., Aldrich T., La Scorpianita, Britt M., Noel R., Teresa H., Biker Teach, Marsha M., Christina B., Kristen B., Jason F., Amber H., Abby B., Sarah B., Regina N., Josie S., Sam B., Lucy P., Mary E., Jamie B., Red Violin, Kristen W., Vanessa J., Mary C., RJR, Kristen C., Johanna H., Space Panties, Irma A., Nimi, and Sarah N. A big thank you to all of those special Patreon patrons for us here at Teacher Needs a Drink podcast. Woo! All right, last thing, I'd like to thank our proud and loyal Overlord sponsors over at Lud Lamb Dramatics. If you are a theater teacher or no one in your building, go to Lud Lamb Dramatics. They are the only place where you can get educational theater-directed content for posters on your wall. What they do is amazing, they're exclusive, they're niche, and you should check them out, especially if you have anything to do with putting on a class play, because they have the best resources there. All right, my friends, this week our episode is recorded down at a teacher convention not far from the bar. The sound quality can be a little iffy, but I just listened to it. It's not that bad. So I think you guys will enjoy it. Next week we'll be back to normal. And of course, like I said earlier, we're doing a watch party for Bill and Ted Excellent Adventure this Friday, September 30th, for all of our patrons. So there's still time. Join the Patreon now. All right, my friends, enjoy this episode. Cheers. Teacher Needs a Drink podcast. We are recording from near a bar at the convention center. I am Elvis, your host, and today I am joined by Miss Bo Peep.
Hello!
And then also, for the first time today, we have Miss Auntie Pasta.
Hey!
And joining us from the before times, Mr. Chris Has Autism. No, Chris from ChrisHasAutism.com.
You know, they should make a Mount Rushmore of presidents.
Yes. Oh, boy. Yeah, that's a joke from before this. And also, we have, from probably almost a year ago, Mr. Act Right.
Hey.
So, welcome, guys. We're at Teacher Convention. It's fun seeing teachers drink, because this is the first time this one has been held since COVID happened. It was supposed to happen last year, but we had a big flare-up of all the... What was it then? Was it the Omicrons coming back, or was it the Deltas?
Omicron. It was pretty bad.
Was it Omicron or the Deltas?
Was before. This one was the Deltas. Sorry,
Yeah.
The other one, there's another teacher convention, that was Omicron, so yeah.
Yeah, this one got canceled, though, because of Delta. The last one, when we were all at, that had been like, people didn't show up because of Omicron, but because everything was going cool, and then... But hey, people are here, and so I'm happy to have a buzz and be at the bar. I'm happy to see all of you and to meet you. Okay. And so we're going to dive in, because that's what we need to do. So I'm going to read this one from the Reddit. All right, this is from El Unicornio. On Reddit, and this is banning teachers pay teachers. It says, just got out of a leadership meeting where everyone was reamed for using teachers pay teachers. We were told that the cute stuff doesn't meet the rigor of standards. We're also told that our principal would light us up if we were found to be using anything from teachers pay teachers. If my district supplied resources or any curriculum guides, I'd be fine. However, as an upper ELA teacher, my only guide is to teach literature schools first, then Then informational tech skills second semester. That's it. That's my guidance. I use Teachers Pay Teachers to find fun center activities or things like WebQuest. I bought a year-long spelling unit bundle too. That's because my district doesn't see the merit in spelling instruction and tells us to do more guided reading to help kids remember how words are spelled. I am lost. If I'm willing to spend my own money on resources that the district won't provide, why should it matter? Does your district have a Teachers Pay Teachers ban? Should I use the stuff anyways? Well, I've got my opinions, but I want to hear some of yours. Mr. Actright, how do you feel about Teachers Pay Teachers? Is it cheating? Is it wrong? Is everything okay?
You know, Teachers Pay Teachers. I use it every once in a while. Why reinvent a wheel? You know.
Sure, and I feel like we all collaborate with each other too. So.
And if they have a problem with it, they can go fuck themselves.
I think that's wise.
Period. I have mixed feelings about Teachers Pay Teachers.
Really? Wow.
I feel a little bad because I feel like I'm attacking my own. But sometimes I feel like my own screw me, and I'm like, this is my hour of need. Come and clutch. What do you have for me? And I don't, which is my own fault for not planning enough in advance. But sometimes you just need a refresher. Let me just see what you've got, and maybe it'll spur up an interest or an idea. And sometimes I purchase stuff, and I'm like, there's nothing in this. This is just a bunch of paper that I'm going to print off, and none of it is anything. I don't get anything out of it. So sometimes I'm like, maybe your district's looking out for you by saying don't use Teachers Pay Teachers. But at the same time, if you're not going to provide anything, and I don't know, if you're not going to provide anything.
It's helpful for
and
some
it's helpful,
people.
and they're selling it. You're also helping another teacher out.
I do agree. In my first year of teaching, there was a package advertised that it would cover all of my requirements for all levels of my classes too, and it cost $55, and it's kind of useless. It's great sub work, if I'm being honest. Too.
It's good.
And there's not even a lot to build off of. It's not very good. But $55 too, and it gives me it saves me some time on some sub lessons too. But at the same time, it's I don't know what else they're expecting if they just want everyone to come up. We did that's the main thing is what are they expecting?
I feel like it's almost a Cliff Notes for lesson plans a lot of time where I'm going to get the information from somewhere. Where do you think these ideas are coming from? I'm glad they believe we're such great teachers. We're just pulling everything from the ether. And sometimes I do have great ideas that come out of nowhere. But other times okay, I need to do something that ties into Labor Day. Labor Day is this week. And so I'll go on Teachers Pay Teachers, and I'll drop $4 or $5. And there's been a lot of times I've bought stuff, and it has been crap. I'm like, this is worthless.
Yeah.
Other times it's been good leaping off points. I'm like, okay, I can take this part of it in this aspect. But to ban the whole thing, it's like saying, hey, you guys can't use libraries anymore.
Right.
Because
No
that's
books for
unoriginal.
you.
We expect you to do more.
Right. Orlin, what's the point of our degrees? Or just, and then I feel so often, we're at a teacher convention right now. We're sharing,
teachers are teaching other teachers, and we're learning from,
yeah.
and this counts as professional development. So what's the difference?
Yeah, especially
if they want to make money off of that, and we want to give our money to them, then
I think almost any resource, especially ones the district bought, you have to pay for it. And there are things that aren't, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's cheating. I certainly don't think it's cheating.
But
because teachers all the time, we steal from each other. We say, "Oh, that worked for you. Maybe it'll work for me." Because it's for the betterment of the kids.
We're all building ideas off of each other.
Yeah, that's not much is original anymore.
But it's almost like this principal doesn't trust the teachers to filter their own content. It's like, okay, you can meet with your team. Well, what if my team has a really shitty idea?
What if you don't have a team? So many fine arts don't have anybody.
Exactly, but what's the difference between this and say, okay, well, I'm going to go talk to the teacher who does this subject at another school? It's almost the same. Do you not trust me to use their opinions or their information and filter through what's crap?
And I
what's
kind
not?
of resent the cutesy remark. Because some of it, I've
it's elementary, and I can say a lot of the teacher pay teacher stuff in elementary has those, whatever they are, I don't know what you call them.
little graphic organizers.
Yeah, those generic graphics. There's the same kind of white kids or generic brown kids that have these brown faces.
Do use is not Teachers Pay Teachers. I use Facebook. the group pages.
Yeah.
And they like post files. Like I find that more useful. Like the technical teacher
Because it's more
page,
tried and true.
or like the UIL teacher page, or just a director teacher page on Facebook. Like they post like files of like different things, and you can it doesn't charge you money, and also you can like copy and paste whatever you want from whatever lesson that they put on there.
There was a very kind soul on a Facebook page that posted their entire year at a glance. And, same thing too. Like, I don't just follow what they do, but I do a lot of what they do too, and like change a little bit and, give credit where credit's due. But
I'm thinking that the administration got nailed for having teachers that did that, and maybe they were just taking it out on their teachers.
Who's mad at them? Then there's still like a higher up person that's mad
Maybe the
about
superintendent gets onto their principal. I don't know what that could be.
I feel like if you're getting
came
on
from somewhere.
them, for one, shame on you, because you should be providing them with some kind of resource
support your teachers better
to help them.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
They shouldn't have to be like scrounging to find lessons to be able to teach these kids.
But I'm a belief of any port in a storm. If you're a teacher who's struggling, or you don't have an idea, or even if you don't have a sub plan, what's it gonna hurt to pay $5? Because hopefully you're gonna read it. Now, if someone's like, "Hey, this is my semester plan, and this is all I'm,"
and you don't even know what any of it is,
then you have an issue. But if you're just using it to supplement whatever, and I feel that's what most responsible people are doing, is they're supplementing. I do know teachers who have bought a full semester of lesson plans, and it has worked out beautifully.
Yeah.
That's why they have reviews on there, and you can usually see samples.
And there are some really trusted, like there are some people who I'm like, that's who I use. I love them. I will use them every time if I need something. And there are other people that I'm like, never again. What was this?
Now, the thing I kind of want to consider doing is I see people who make a small fortune off there, but they're not really providing any original content
at all.
It's like I just took a bunch of public domain poetry, and I typed it up and said, hey, you should have your third graders read it, and hold up this graphic, which I pulled off of clip art, and here you go. And but they seem to sell. I mean, $2 at a time, but that's why you vet your stuff. But I kind of appreciate the teacher with the side hustle, as long as you're not, stealing other people's work.
No, I mean, more kudos to you, like that you could do all of that and do everything that being a teacher entails, and then be like, here, I'm going to help out, my pals if they need, and also make a little money, but.
I do know some teachers who quit doing workshops, or quit, hosting workshops, leading workshops at teacher conventions, because they had seen their work and worksheets that they had presented at the workshop. Someone was selling on Teachers Pay Teachers. Like they had taken the workshop and the outline they'd gotten and just completely put it on there and sold it as their own work. And so they were going to like conventions and doing teacher workshops and just getting as much of like physical materials they could, and scanning it.
An inside man.
Well, and a lot of these teachers are really giving, like, hey, if here's a Google Drive that has all of these documents and worksheets, please take them, use them, and then
it's like you're being helpful
for the betterment of the whole.
And then you're taking in,
and then someone sells it.
That's
God.
So there are some, but that doesn't need Teachers Pay Teachers needs to be shut down or banned from a school.
No,
that's
not what these
short-sightedness.
administrators are talking about. Yeah, they're just,
I feel that's the boomer attitude where you can't take help. I feel it's the same thing. Like, no, you shouldn't do therapy. You need to do it on your own. Oh, you need a dating app? Well, something's wrong with you. No, times have changed, and this is the resource.
And we're dealing with it.
Talking about they don't realize how much help they got, too.
Exactly.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, what's the difference in me going on there and purchasing something, or going down to Miss Susie Cabluzzi's room and saying, hey, can I run off some copies of your bell work question page, or like your... Yeah.
And I can do Teachers Pay Teachers in my own time. If it's 4 a.m. before I call in a sub, that's
my
okay.
own fucking money, so why are you worried about it?
Yeah, that would be my thing. It's like, how do you know this isn't my work? How do you know this isn't my lesson plan?
How do you know? Are you doing walkthroughs in my room?
Yeah.
Probably not.
When was the last time you saw me teach?
Yeah. Because quality versus, that's a whole different thing. But, yeah, I agree.
So, Chris, do you have any thoughts? As I know you're not in the classroom whatsoever, but you're here, so I do want to hear your opinion. What do you think about someone using resources like this? Do you think since you're being paid, you need to create it completely on your own, or?
Well, what do you? Okay, you're a history teacher. What are you creating on your own? History? No, none of this is. all of it comes from somewhere anyway. I mean, come on, get some help from some. Kind of off the subject, but not really. I've always wondered this. So, okay, we're always told not to cheat in class. Okay,
Yeah, right.
Is it that you don't want your students to cheat, or is it that you don't want them to get caught cheating? Because I mean, the most successful people in the world cheat.
My view on that isn't so much that I don't want them to get caught cheating or like I want a kid to cheat successfully, but I do want them to respect my intelligence enough to not blatantly cheat. And like, you realize I can see you. You realize I can talk. Yeah. I wasn't born yesterday.
Okay.
That would be more my thing. And I don't want a kid to cheat. I want them to, show that they have the information, that they've gained something or paid attention.
You want them to actually learn it so they...
But it's kind of like you're not allowed to use a calculator because when will you have a calculator in real life? And now everyone has a calculator in their pocket all the time in the world. Like, granted, if you need to know some serious calculations or what do you call it, formulas for like science, architecture or something, you'll probably need to know it, but you will have to know it. But if you're just, there's just a few boomer attitudes that are slowly disappearing. Like, now everyone's starting to be okay with open note tests and open book tests.
Right.
Like, you know what? That shows how else you're going to get the information. If you're an adult, you use Google if you don't know something.
It is such an important skill to know how to find information.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
And like, okay, it's your notes. Well, you learn to take notes better.
Right.
And why is that a downside?
Yeah. If somebody has a graphic organizer that's more interesting than me saying, look at this PowerPoint and just write on this sheet of notebook paper and it gets the kids engaged, isn't that what they want anyway? They want to see engagement. Mm-hmm. But then they want to scrutinize how you get that engagement, which feels contradictory.
Yeah.
Just memorize all of the material. No, how about take good notes? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
The thing is, if the information's important, the kid or the adult or whoever will memorize it. Yeah. But just memorizing things arbitrarily, I don't know if that's a skill that needs to, like, okay, you need to have all of these things. Why?
Not to mention, like, in a year or two, you'll probably forget most of it.
Yeah, like, I remember I had to memorize every single type of stone for geometry in college, or I had, there's 40 things I just had to list. Like, okay, I memorized it that night, I regurgitated it that morning, and I promptly flushed it out of my memory. I couldn't tell you any of these. Mr. Act Right? Sorry, Do Right.
What up,
you were about to say something and I cut you off a minute ago.
No, as time has gone on, back then, we didn't have, people didn't have phones and shit like that. So, times have changed, where we can actually, just search it rather than having to memorize these things.
Yeah.
Right? We have the access to it 24/7, 7 days a week. So, what's the point of memorizing it obviously, there are sources that aren't correct, but, you're closer to an answer than if you didn't know it at all.
There's something that I need to know. There's something that I talk about a lot, and I'm just being vague because not say my subject matter. But basically, I always forget these two things. That is the component of something. And I look it up every time I tell my students because I was like, I don't want to tell you the wrong thing so that I forget. So I'm just like, we'll Google this together. And my mentor teacher was always a big fan of that when I started, saying hey, tell the kids when you don't know something and say, we will look it up together. We will learn about it together. Don't pretend like you know what you're talking about when you don't.
No, I think to encourage kids to not pretend you know everything, because number one, everyone hates a fucking know-it-all. And usually they're wrong on something. Mm-hmm. And so, I don't know. I'm a big fan of admitting when you're wrong, admitting when you don't know something, and there's nothing wrong with... Because that's self-improvement, to find information, to get better.
And you're modeling what they should eventually put into place and learn themselves. So
no, the times are changing. And I wonder with all the lowering of standards to allow more people to teach uncredentialed or high school or pizza delivery drivers, nothing against anyone in any of those positions, but people who they're just trying to put a warm body, are they going to try to hold them to the same, hey, I know you don't have
I know
standards.
you're a warm body, but also.
But yeah, you're not allowed to be seen in public drinking. God forbid you're wearing a shirt with the school logo and you're in a bar or a restaurant or something like that. Like all these kind of high
But now
standards.
you can't use pay teachers.
Yeah, you can't use teacher pay teachers, but it's okay. I know you only have like 3 pedophilia charges, but you're only indicted. So go ahead and teach in our school. It's fine. This is from the Reddits as well. User I'm Janet Reno. And she wants to know, does anyone else have poop buckets in their classroom? I just learned that each classroom in my school has a large 5-gallon bucket named the poop bucket in case of a lockdown and students needing to use the bathroom. I honestly thought it was a joke at first, but does anyone else have poop buckets? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it's actually in our school, and you keep them under there. Because a kid asked, it's because we had a student pee in a trash can during a lockdown. It was a false alarm, but we were in there for like 15 or 20 minutes waiting because something was rumored to have happened, and a kid had to pee, and so he peed in a trash can, and then word got out because kids aren't going to keep that to themselves that someone just peed in the trash can. And yeah, so now there's official poop bucket, pee bucket.
So I had a poop bucket at my last school. My current school does not have a poop bucket for me. But I also have to laugh a little bit because was your poop bucket crammed full of emergency supplies?
Oh.
Because mine was.
Like they kept the first aid kit in there or something?
It was like a 1,000-piece kit of things. Like there was food, like astronaut food in there, freeze-dried.
Well, really?
They were rocking it. But I'm thinking, you got to go that bad. Like, are you going to unload all of this in time?
You just
dump it.
I guess you should just dump it, but...
Where?
Like there, you gotta take a shit. There's no need
That's
to.
true. But like, what do you do? Just drop your drawers and there in front of God and everybody?
I mean, if it's that bad and it's gonna happen, I mean...
I haven't really thought about if we ever actually had to use it too. And I work with teenagers, and I feel like that poor teenager would be...
they have cell phones, yeah. Would somebody do that?
Yeah.
When
there'd be the class asshole where it'd end up on TikTok,
Oh,
yeah.
Look at Jeffrey pooping in a bucket.
Shitting in the neon bucket
TikTok
with the
sound, oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 no.
When you have to poop during a lockdown. Oh no.
And there's no liquid to stifle the scent.
Oh no.
Well, see, I'm assuming worst case scenario. I'm assuming 2. I'm assuming number 2.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
I mean, it's poop bucket, not
It is
pee bin.
that's true.
I don't have a poop bucket at my school, but we do have empty 5-gallon buckets that we've had paint in. So I mean, we could make our own poop.
Yeah.
Resourcefulness.
And then at the same time, they wouldn't have to worry about being recorded because my room is connected to a black box, so they could have their own privacy.
Chris, how do you feel about the concept of a poop bucket in the classroom?
Well, I'm thinking, so we're talking about folks, the stigma of being the one who
It
poops in
would
the room.
smell.
Yeah.
There was
If you're
a
confined to one classroom, it would smell.
Yeah.
There was a movie called Short Bus, came out a few years ago. Short Bus being the name of this club, and there's an orgy scene in the movie. Well, so the director,
Great.
A short bus orgy
So where are we going with this?
featuring the helmet.
well, in this movie, Short Bus is the name of a like a sex club. So there's an orgy scene at one point in the movie, and I read that the director and the entire crew got naked before they shot the scene so that everyone would feel more comfortable. So I'm like, okay, if one kid's got
It was a soft opening.
got to drop trowel and do their business in the bucket, will it make them feel better if everyone drops their pants out?
All right, class, we're gonna break the ice right now.
Yeah.
Everyone's shit in the bucket.
I just mean, use your imagination. We're all naked.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
if you're at the point hey, I know you can't go to the bathroom because you will be killed if you go out there.
Right.
I think at that point,
This is life
I
or
wouldn't
death.
want to crap my pants, but it's. Yeah.
But it's Toby's got to go. Everyone, sit down in your desks with your pants dropped. But an adult saying that to a bunch of kids is gonna be
Yeah, so
probably.
you're the adult in the room, then what?
Yeah.
Is that an issue?
It still throws me off because I've been an adult longer than I haven't, and the fact that I have to be the adult in that situation, oh guys, sorry, everyone chill out. Craig's gonna go poop in the bucket. Just don't make a deal out of it.
It's casual.
Does no one make eye contact? He's been holding it
Being trapped
in.
in a small room.
Yeah.
I don't know how that would happen.
Yeah, that sounds like hell.
No, it really sucks. This is our reality now. So why is there a poop bucket? You know, in case the gunmen come in. Well, wouldn't somebody? Well, the police might come around and empty the poop bucket. That'd probably be more useful while they're standing in the hallway doing nothing. But
just hand it out.
Yeah.
Hey, can you take this? It stinks a little.
Yeah. Hey, can you, when you go back out
While
for your
you're
donut
standing
and to go
there,
restrain some parents, will you empty the poop bucket?
Yeah.
Thanks,
It's
Baldy.
protect and serve. You're not serving. Come on, guys.
Hey guys, guess what? We have a Patreon!
Shut the front door the fuck up.
Yep, that's right. For as little as $5 to $10 a month, you can join our Patreon. You have your name right at the beginning of the podcast, get access to our Facebook group. On Friday, September 30th, you can watch Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure with us for a watch party. It's going to be amazing. Oh, and there's also like 95 or 1,000 special episodes on our Patreon. So sign up and do it now. Yay! Woo!
But who's Bill and Ted?
Would you rather have your parents watch a tape of your sexual highlights, or would you rather watch a tape of your parents' sexual highlights and all of you have to have dinner afterwards?
They can watch mine because I don't have to worry about watching it. They could, they've already seen all my bits, so they could see me do all the things.
I disagree.
I wouldn't want to watch them have sex. That's
So,
gross.
Here's the question: do we all know that something
When
has
we're
been
having
witnessed?
dinner, yeah.
Like, do we?
Do they
like,
know?
Oh yes, no. You're in the room with them while they're watching your sexual highlights, and then you're having dinner afterwards,
wait, but-
or they're in the room while you're watching their sexual
Oh, so that
highlights.
changes
and
I'd
you're at
rather
dinner.
have them watch mine, and I wouldn't want to watch theirs because if I was having dinner, I would throw up.
Period.
Would you feel awkward about it? I don't know, because
No, because I talk to my parents about everything.
I don't like my parents are
Full
deceased, but I think of just like other
Full
family
disclosure.
members, and that's an awkward one because there's a lot of faces and passion and interesting things that can get said. I'm like, I don't want to see that with them, but I flash back to some of my highlights that I remember. I'm like, oh, well, I enjoyed that. I don't know if I really want to have
be
that
honest,
conversation.
I think I would rather watch my parents.
Really?
No kidding.
Isn't that sick? It's a little sick. But like, my father's an oversharer. He thinks it's endearing.
So you
I
already
also
know
think
way
I'm an
more.
oversharer because I think it's endearing, but it's weird that he thinks it's endearing. Anyway, I don't
My
know.
mom's the same way.
But so I feel I know a lot more about his business than I should probably know anyway. So it's like, if I already know about you, I might as well just, instead of you also knowing about me, let's just make this a one-sided knowing about. I don't know.
Yeah, I also think I would rather
You
watch.
seem a little like you're like,
I feel like there's
yeah?
not a good answer.
There's not a good-
like
I
there's
mean-
not a winner in this one.
I think I would rather watch my parents, and it's actually for a completely separate, selfish reason.
All right.
I feel like my sexual highlights don't look as good as they felt in that moment.
Probably.
So that would kind of ruin it for me. So that's why I
I'm
would make
vain.
that choice.
I'm vain, and I don't want them.
Yeah, I also feel like it would be weird, but I would be cool with I get it. I get they had 2 kids. That's how
Like
it
obviously you
happened.
did that to get
yeah.
here.
Yeah.
There's nothing in mine that I would be ashamed of. And so I was thinking, like, sure, I might make some goofy faces or have an unflattering pose or have like a weird O face or something like that. But there's nothing in my highlight reel like, oh my gosh, I don't want them to know that I did. It's like, oh, did you put like 10 rubber ducks up your ass and wear a baby
True.
diaper?
And
like,
yours.
did
See,
you
that's
pay
the-
for someone to poop on you? I'm like, no, it was all just a lot of like, woohoo, look at me.
Also, I feel like
And that's the difference between men and women.
Oh, I'm sorry you had the ducks in your butt, Miss Bo Peep. I mean,
Squeak, squeak. Wait,
quack, quack. Chris, what's your take on this?
Rubber ducky, you're the one. I don't want to know anything ever at all about my folks' sex life, and
what I'm saying.
if they haven't already, sooner or later they're going to find it on my blog, chrishasautism.com. So at some point they're going to know a little bit way more about me than they ever wanted to know. Show them my Chris Does Dallas highlights. Let's do this.
But I'm thinking about the
Debbie Does
highlight
Chris.
reel. I can't think of anything really demeaning in
My
there.
highlight reel is pretty short. I gotta be honest.
Like,
so maybe they should watch mine.
And
hey,
the things that I'm not proud of don't make the highlight reel.
You can watch me be a hoe. I don't care.
Because, I mean, there were times where I tried something and it didn't go as planned, or I was like, you know what, baby, we're going to do this tonight. I'm like, womp, womp, womp. I'm like, oh, that was not a
necessarily
home
not
run.
ashamed of it doesn't mean
That
you want
was
your
not my
parents
finest work.
Yeah. And so they're not, it's a highlight reel. It's like,
But at the same time, are you going to be disappointed by your parents?
Probably.
aren't we all?
Yeah.
I'm already.
What if like their sex tape is worse than yours?
Well.
I feel like too,
Like,
they'll
what if
let
it only
me
lasts
Pandora's
like
box.
5 seconds?
What if it's like a million times better? And like, wow, there are so many
This is
things I
beautiful.
didn't try.
This is like,
Be like, that's why
Yeah,
the 70s had.
You know, I think all of this too, like, is an interesting about like our impressions of sex, that we're not proud of sex. You know, John Lennon said, you know, we do war in public, but we make love in the dark, and you know. And then there was on Jonathan Van Ness's podcast, there was a great episode that was talking about like queer behavior in the animal kingdom, and this scientist talked about a moment where there was this group of nuns that watched these bonobos with that, and they have like these enlarged clitorises, and they were having sex. It was like a holy act that they were witnessing. So
That's cool.
right?
No,
I remember this story. This has really stuck with you.
It did.
This
It was
made
an
an impression.
impression.
It did.
I've told this story
But
before.
I also feel like we're self-deprecating, and I don't know that my parents wouldn't just sit there in silence while it was playing. And I would at least like crack jokes about myself and maybe lighten the mood so it's not so awkward.
Right.
So maybe we should watch mine.
What if the highlight be your conception?
that would be beautiful.
Aren't you proud of me? Because I'm doing what you
I have to
make
say,
me. So now
I don't know how I feel
procreating.
about
This is the cycle of life.
Well, the cycle of my life, and like my ex-wife and I, we had good times and we have children. I don't remember like this was the night this happened. This was so beautiful. I more remember, I remember that time we were at the campsite and we snuck up to the top of the mountain. I mean, like, I remember that kind of stuff more.
But not like this was the eve.
I'm like, yeah, it
of
was
your
Tuesday night.
conception.
We turned off Friends, and then boom, 9 months later, you came out.
True.
I mean, it was just a Wednesday night, or I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think that would make the highlight
It was
reel.
a total eclipse of the sun.
All right, well, thanks for joining us for another episode of Teacher Needs a Drink podcast. I'd like to thank my host who joined me today, Ms. Bo Peep. I'm glad you made it to the bar and came down.
Me too.
And Ms. Auntie Pasta, thank you for being here.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
And Chris from ChrisHasAutism.com. I'm glad you made it. And last but not least, is it Act Right or Do Right?
Act right.
Mr. Act Right, I'm so glad you were here.
Thank you.
So much. So happy. As he seductively swirls his house cab. All right, friends. Everyone out there, deep breaths, deep drinks. Cheers! Woohoo! All right, friends, thanks for listening to an extra special episode of Teacher Needs a Drink podcast. I'd like to thank all my hosts who are with me today, Ms. Bo Peep, Ms. Auntie Pasta, Chris from ChrisHasAutism.com, and Mr. Act Right. We all got to do this together. It was nice to get a break, because I don't get to see these people in person very often. I hope all you guys are taking care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest, and we'll be back to normal next week. All right, my friends, cheers! Woo! Yay! I don't know. Put a traffic cone up my ass. I'll do it, but, well, they would do it technically because my arms. Anyway.
Because my arms.
Yeah.
But yoga.
Yeah, I'm working, man. Space Panties got me on that yoga, so boom.